Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Ayo Boxing with Madiba, and we're here to talk about Brandun Lee and his next fight against Pedro Campa. So, Brandun Lee, the up and coming prospect at 140 turning contender, will be fighting as a co main event to Sebastian Findor versus Brian Mendoza this Saturday, April 8th. And this will be the most important fight in Brandun Lee's career. This is his first fight as a co main, and this fight is taking place in Carson, California at the Punch Bowl. So essentially, this is a hometown fight for Lee, and it's guaranteed that he'll have a lot of fans that will come out to see him fight. So there's definitely pressure for him to win and look great. A spectacular KO victory could definitely propel Brandun Lee's career further. The only problem that I have with this fight is that it's a step backwards, and it contradicts what Lee has said regarding his next opponent, which is he wanted to fight a top 15 ranked opponent. If you look at any of the sanctioning bodies or any rankings regarding the 140 division, you'll clearly see that Pedro Campa is not listed in the top 15 for anything. And like what I said, this contradicts what Brandun Lee has said regarding his next opponent. Look at this clip.
Taking on Diego Luque in this fight. What do you know about him?
I know he's a tough guy. He's from Argentina. He went the distance with Jack Catterall. So I know he's tough and he's durable. But after this fight, I need better opposition. I need to go after those top 15 guys. I need my name to be out there.
Now look at these Instagram captions. Now look at this tweet. At the time, I was really convinced that Lee was going to fight someone in the top 15, and when I heard his next opponent was going to be Pedro Campa, I was disappointed. I understand the importance of building up a young fighter with matchups that will make him look good and develop his skills, but this is going to be Lee's 28th fight. Repeat, his 28th fight. Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are at the same age as Brandun Lee, and they already fought top 15 ranked guys. They already fought current and former champions. Lee hasn't. And don't get me wrong, I like Brandun Lee, and I want to see him become a champion at 140, but I have to keep it real and call him out on this. Even though this fight is a step backwards, this fight may be the biggest test in Lee's career so far. It sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but let me explain. Pedro Campa is a come-forward boxer with a pressure style, and he has some power. Compared to Lee's last opponents, Campa has the best win-loss ratio and has the most experience out of all his opponents. His last fight was against Teofimo Lopez, and despite getting stopped in the 7th round, Campa was able to outland Teo in power punches for half of the fight. He also displayed some heart and some durability as well. Normally, Campa's style would be tailor-made for Lee. However, Lee has been rocked and dropped by lesser opponents before. Will Madera is the best example of this. Madera dropped Lee with a devastating counter right hand, and the crazy thing is that Madera is not a big puncher. So basically, Lee got hurt and dropped by a non-puncher. There's a possibility that Campa can hurt Lee, make him look bad, and give him a lot of trouble, or even upset Lee. However, I still favor Lee to win this fight by a knockout or stoppage. In summary, this is not a bad fight. However, I was expecting a bit more. My biggest concern with Lee is that he might end up as another Zurdo Ramirez. Ramirez was a guy with a lot of wins against lesser competition, but when he stepped up in class, he got exposed. The last thing that Lee needs is a loss against Pedro Campa. That would definitely set back his career and momentum. And you already have fans as of right now that are questioning Lee's resume. But I do believe after this fight, he'll start fighting better competition and fight somebody in the top 15 at 140. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with AEO Boxing with Madiba. Hit like, subscribe, and more content coming your way.